So, Dawn of the Hunt is now fresh in many ARPGer sites, and with only 1 week to go, a gameplay trailer was just released showcasing everything GGG is adding and changing for better or worse. And as many of you know that follow my channel, I kind of have grown bored and weary of PoE2 content as of late. However, I did see quite a few interesting things in the trailer that I reckon is gonna draw me back into the game for at least one more playthrough before the release of Last Epoch Season 2. So let's have a look at what I found to be interesting. Well, the Huntress has a tragic story, so that's something to kind of start off with here. Her attacks are more or less looking like they are following suit with normal PoE2 mechanics, but the ones I like the most have been the interactive skills, the ones that change or become different as they are interacting with each other. This is kind of similar to the original Elementalist Flame Wall, which ignites other attacks as they kind of move through it, and of course catches things on fire if they touch them. The Huntress has a few skills that will be doing the same thing, so I've always kind of loved this type of creativity in game design, and definitely take my hat off to GGG for imagining the extra dimension to the gameplay with these interactions. However, I am a realist by nature and don't really see that strategic gameplay they show in the video as plausible for the average player in the end game. The bleeds, the blisters, all these dots are great as long as they are paired correctly, and I'm sure someone is going to find a way to do so, but you know, that average player, this strategic vision doesn't really work out, and it hasn't really worked out in the past as well, so we'll have to see if things have changed or not. But however, on a positive note though, the companion pet is a step in the right direction, as it is kind of giving some diversity to class design, which was not there before, and to include minion pets on different classes, I think, is a step in the right direction. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out, you know, with the amount of spirit that's going to be used and whether or not that's going to keep you from being able to use different heralds. But still, it's giving a new playstyle to the classes, so I'm all for this. Now, real quickly, I just want to throw in the concepts that they put in with the new Ascendancies, because I don't like diving too deeply in them until you can actually get into game and play with them. But the Warrior Ascendancy, I kind of like the idea they've made here, because with the Forging Ascendancy, you are kind of adding a layer of determinism to the crafting, meaning you're taking away all the affixes and suffixes and you are adding them according to what kind of gameplay you want to do. So in a sense, I'm always for that. I love there to be more deterministic realities when it comes to crafting stuff. The other Ascendancy, which is the Lich, is another move which I'm both kind of happy for, but also not too sure about. Once again, you can see skills displayed, but really, until we get into game and run around, I'm not going to dive deep into it. I'm just glad that there's new playstyles and builds that are finally making their way into the game. And in connection to the Huntress pet, I'm also happy to see Spectres and the Roa getting their day in the sun, because these are two different things which should have been in the release, but for whatever reason, they've been held until now. Now, crafting is where I always have issues with this game, and before you jump down my throat and say there is no crafting, you have got to listen to the devs who believe the manipulation of items through the currencies is what they consider crafting in this game. So with that set aside, they have definitely brought some more crafting mechanics into the game, which seem to be offering players more control of what they will get in their gear through the mirror maps, which will give you more or less affixes on one side, and the recombination benches, which will offer you a chance to pull the best affixes from two possible items and combine it together to hopefully get those affixes on a crafted piece. And finally, there are the fractured orbs, which will freeze an affix, assuring that it doesn't get reset when you're using chaos orbs. Now, for me, it's still way too punishing, though. I'm definitely not on that hardcore spectrum of believing that RNG everything rolls is a constructive way to make crafting work in a game. But they are inching closer to more deterministic crafting, so I guess we gotta kind of be happy about this, right? I mean, and of course, speaking of deterministic crafting, the one thing they did claim way back in the day that they believed to be the real deterministic way to craft stuff was the runes. So with this new tier of runes, this is kind of a good move for us, as I think as you are progressing through the game, you need more powers and more resistances, and I think these runes are going to like upgrade themselves, and there's going to be a few in-game bosses that you can kill that will also give you kind of unique runes as well. So let's just wait and see how that goes. Now, as for the in-game, I don't really see anything that is going to really shift the experience for players here. You have to remember that GGG is a company that only expects like 40 to 60% of their player base to actually reach and have any level of success in the in-game. So with this in mind, the intro questline to the mapping stages has been made, in their words, more interesting, but what I see is like more of a hurdle to overcome in order to unlock Atlas passives. So like 10 just switched to 15 maps, and now there's these corrupted maps that you will need to go in and cleanse. I mean, I just hope everyone is putting together their early in-game metas, because these new little cleansing maps look to be more complicated. But before I dump totally on the in-game, I do like what they have done with the multi-chances at the in-game maps, and the way that they have it set up does kind of make sense, as the more difficult you make the map, the less respawns you'll have to finish it, as, you know, the harder the map, supposedly you're getting better loot. I mean, if you're not getting better loot from making it more difficult, then that whole system that they have now implemented is going to be absolute garbage. But I am always believing that they are thinking about doing something positive for the community and not just trying to destroy it. Now, I know there were other things introduced in the trailer, but I don't think I need to list everything, especially since I only find about half of the information really relative to what I believe another playthrough will be influenced by as I'm going through it. And I also want everyone to keep in mind that I was not going to play this update at all until 12 hours ago or before, whenever this information was released, and I watched the video through, but now I see that GGG is making some strides to improve the game for broader audiences and giving people more of a chance to complete in-game maps. So yeah, I'll be in-game at least one more playthrough. How about you guys? Have you guys given up on PoE 2 yet, or are you still, no-lifing the content day and night? Drop comments below. No matter if you agree or disagree with me, I encourage everyone to leave their opinions. And most importantly, guys, thanks for watching.